Tracy Hamilton. I'm Chair of the Board of Trustees.
I'm Katie Cirillo, and I'm a board member.
Audrey Southern, teach U.S. History and American Literature.
Roger Richardson, board member and chair of the Personnel Committee.
And I'd like to invite Dimitri to pat us up. Dimitri is a Johnson Board Fellow from the Johnson School of Business at Cornell, who is joining us
As a board development project through the Johnson School, Dimitri and another fellow, Mark, here tonight will be helping out the board for the academic year. And I think since Mark's not here, we'll do the official bringing on next time. Thank you for your service.
Okay, so we will start with public comment. Comments. I'll remind everybody that it is our policy that individual public comments are limited to 2 minutes apiece, and so we will have a timer so everybody gets the same amount of time and everybody's treated equally. I remember, please, that this is a public meeting. Everything that you say is being videotaped by more than one video camera. By speaking at this meeting, you're agreeing that those videotapes of you are, that it's okay to videotape you, and the owner of those videotapes can use them as they will. So we'll try to keep things moving along. I know this is a very emotional issue, but let's try to give everybody a chance to say what they need to say. All right. So the first person, Maliki Whitford. Malachi Whitford. Sorry, Malachi.
This school has been dealt a critical blow. Tim Turecek, a respected and admired member of the New Roots community, has been cast out. The reasoning for which was seen as so unjust and appalling, Meryl Phipps, another loved and revered community member, felt the need to leave. I urge you to investigate the situation. Tim was a great dean. His ability to continue in this position was in question. He would not have been allowed to return to New Roots at the beginning of the year. Adding a class to the schedule was not a valid reason for termination. Therefore, I'm led to believe he was fired as a result of personality conflict and or personal relationship issues. I'd like the board to keep in mind its duty is to act in the best interests of the New Roots students and not the administrators. In order for this school to run smoothly, our students need the support and instruction that only Tim and Meryl can offer. Finding replacements for these members of our community could be an impossible task. As a founder of this school, I've seen a disturbing amount of faculty and staff disappear, whether it was because they were asked to leave or required more support in order to do their job that they didn't receive. Our teachers live in fear that their jobs could at any moment be taken away from them. We need to assure them that there is no fear of this in writing. It's key that not only our students feel they are safe and guaranteed a place in this community, our faculty and staff need to feel this security as well. We demand that there be a proper system of job security put in place for all staff so that instead of spending time and energy worrying as to whether or not they will remain at this establishment, they can focus on educating and developing students of New Roots so that we can be ready to fix the mistakes of past generations and restore some sense of order to the world.
Hello. So today and yesterday, I went around to my classes and I took a survey. I asked the students in my classes to answer 2 questions. The first question being, how do you feel about Tim and Meryl's absence? And the second question being, what are any concerns or questions you have about the school? And I have all of their answers right here, but I've chosen 5 to read aloud tonight at this board meeting. So the first one is, I think that Tim and Meryl's absence from the school has caused a lot of hostility in the school, such as stealing and bullying. My concern is that as long as Tim and Meryl stay away from the school, more people are going to get hurt. The second one, I feel that not having Tim and Meryl in the school has become more of a problem because more people are skipping out on classes and people are having a lot of problems that can't be solved on their own. Number 3, I'm sad that they're gone, but I don't think they can come back. I'm worried about the legal actions being taken and how we'll be all over the news. I'm worried it will destroy our school. The fourth one, I think that Tina has too much power. There should be a much bigger / longer process for taking somebody's job, and students should be able to play a role in that, or at least know what's going on, and be able to speak their opinions during that process. And the last one, why can't Miss Tina give Tim a second chance when she wants us to give her a second chance for lying to us? Why does the board not do something to fix this? Bring Mr. Tim and Meryl back. I suggest that Tina reads them because there's a lot of things in here.
Can you put them up online somewhere?
Yes, I'm ready to do that. My assistant. Did you make
Don Cantor.
Hi, thanks board, and good evening everyone. I'm speaking on behalf of my wife, myself, my daughter Indigo, and several other parents and staff here at New Roots regarding Tim Turecek and, well, Meryl Phipps leaving the school. I'm aware that New Roots, as an employer, does have the right to fire people on an at-will and hire people on an at-will basis. And I'm not questioning that. What I'm saying is that Tim's untimely termination, it's dead wrong for New Roots, for the whole community. I don't know the full reasoning behind Tim's firing. I do know this, though, as a parent of a New Roots student, pursuant to how it was handled. One, it was really sudden. Two, from what I've heard, it came without fair warning to Tim regarding the possible repercussions of whatever actions it was that he had taken that set this in motion. Three, it has and still is wreaking havoc with the lives of numerous at-risk students here, as well as the school population as a whole. The bonds that were created over the weeks between Tim, Meryl, and the students are complex ones, and they can't be recreated overnight or anytime soon. Many of our seniors are struggling feverishly to meet requirements for graduation and to apply for college, and they're now stuck in this environment of chaos with time quickly evaporating. Four, there are no steps that I know of put in place to first find a successor for the position to allow for a smooth transfer of duties, freeing the children from the resulting fallout. Five, there was no honest explanation given to either the parents or the students, surely something that has to happen in an institution that holds itself as a beacon for teaching fairness and justice for everyone. Six, it sets forth a precedent that any staff member can and might be unceremoniously dumped for any reason that New Roots heads deem just, with no evident process that's in place for warnings, suspensions, or anything like that, which is a must, again, for any institution that fancies itself as a model for today's youth and for today's population.
That's 2 minutes.
That is true.
The next person on the list is not a person. Is there somebody who...
Yes, we're coming. The following statement I'm about to read, I give a copy to the board, and it includes 15 staff and faculty members. To the members of the New Roots Board of Trustees, we, a concerned group of faculty and staff members, resolve the following. The current climate at New Roots Charter School is not one that is in line with our mission and vision of our school. Since the termination of Dean of Students Tim Turecek, our community has suffered in a myriad of ways. Our percentage of missed and skipped classes has skyrocketed. Staff morale has plummeted, and our students are in emotional and academic distress. Our current student support structure is inadequate to meet the academic and emotional needs of our student body. It is unacceptable that during this time of transition, our students have been knowingly subjected to dissemination of information. It is unacceptable that on at least 5 separate occasions, members of staff and faculty, individually, in small groups, and as an entire staff, voiced deep and overwhelming concern regarding this decision, yet no discernible action was taken. It is unacceptable that as events surrounding this termination have unfolded, our current staff are experiencing heightened insecurity about their own employment situations,
There is widespread fear surrounding the expression of dissident opinions, and as such, our voices have been silenced. It is unacceptable that last spring, when a former faculty member's termination was announced in an all-staff meeting, we were assured that that if our own jobs were in jeopardy, we would receive advance written notice pertaining to that fact, and that our former dean of students received no such warnings. Thus, the established procedures of the school were not followed. It is unacceptable that our principal publicly offered Miss Merrill Phipps an 11-month contract in an immediate 2-week off at Morning Circle, where Merrill was not present. Yet, Tina Nielsen-Hodges never communicated this offer to Merrill directly. This has resulted in further organizational destabilization and mistrust. It is unacceptable that in this watershed year of our school's existence, our community has been unnecessarily thrown into turmoil. Critical programs are suffering, and the renewal of our charter is at risk. As such, we resolve that the decision to terminate the employment of Tim Turecek as the New Roots Dean of Students was not in the best interest of the students or the organization, and we resolve that the Board of Trustees exercise their duties to rectify the situation.
Okay, so I'm a great visual instructor. Alright, so this box right here represents you guys, the founders, Tina. This box represents the staff members and faculty, and this here box represents us, the students. What happens if you wiggle this box right here? That's not very steady, is it? What if you take it away? That's us. We have collapsed. And here's my speech. This is happening in our school right now. 2 crucial members of our community have been removed from the equation, leaving both a collapse and an uproar within the students. Tim has been forced to leave this school, and he has helped build it. He is part of the foundation of this school. The remaining staff members are left hanging, hoping that they won't be the next teacher that is texted and told not to come into work. This has affected not only the students and the people fired, but administration, staff, parents, and faith in the school, which is necessary to continue, correct? Our school is based on peace, sustainability, and a stable learning environment. And this right here, what is going on, this uproar, is not a stable learning environment. I'm speaking to you guys with the utmost respect, but I find it kind of difficult to understand how you could make a decision that affects each and every person in this room without being here on a day-to-day basis, seeing how these crucial members of our community affect us as students. It's hard for me to learn knowing that 2 people I care about are not here for reasons that we're being lied to about. And so I just ask you to keep in mind when making decisions that you are not here to see how this affects us. Thank you.
I am here tonight out of support and love for the New Roots staff and community. As students, we need to know that Tim Turecek's termination was a just one and not over a personality conflict or another personal matter. From information that I have gathered over the past 2 weeks, it seems like he could have been let go for less than just reasons. On page 630 of the charter, it states, all employees serve at the will of the Board of Trustees, and the authority to terminate an employee is vested with the Board of Trustees on the recommendation of the principal. As far as I understand, this does not explain what happened with firing Tim. I think that as the board, it is your job to investigate and evaluate the circumstances of Tim's termination thoroughly. In the charter, it also gives the protocol for firing a teacher, not a staff or administrator. Seeing as how we've had a new dean of students each year in schools been open, that process should have been in place. We need to learn from our uncomfortable and abrupt staff rotations. As a student body, we are vulnerable. We have learned to rely on this community as a home and a safe place. Tim Turecek and Merrill Phipps are irreplaceable members of the New Roots family. Replacing them with an unqualified substitute is not making anything right, and hiring a new staff member too would just put us in an awkward place community-wise. It takes a lot of time and energy to trust and respect a new person. Constant staff change really diminishes our overall community. As New Roots students, we we have learned to resolve our conflicts, not dismiss them unjustly without warning. If we were aware that the administrative staff was willing to terminate a great staff and community member's employment, we would have trusted administration over less. We were caught off guard with this termination, and I think the team was too. It says in the New Root statement, our students will learn actively, think critically, and solve problems creatively and collaboratively, developing the knowledge and skills to redesign our communities for social, economic, and ecological sustainability. I think that with the student actions on this issue of social justice within our Nerds community, we are proving that we can do this. We have located an unsustainable problem in our community and are now working together to fix this problem of justice. We are tired of seeing wonderful staff members come and go. Stability is needed to maintain a sustainable present and future. We must learn from our unsustainable past to protect and engage the future.
Because of the 2-minute time limit for each speaker, I'm going to continue reading what Pat wrote. It also says in the New Roots vision statement, New Roots will empower young people as citizens and entrepreneurs that create just, democratic communities. I see this happen in the New Roots community, but it does not appear to me that Tina is participating in our democratic community. My favorite, and what I see to be the most important New Roots staff value is, we advocate for fairness and justice, even when it is uncomfortable or inconvenient to do so. Another one worth acknowledging says, we put the interests of our school and students ahead of personal interests in school-related matters. My understanding is that the New Roots staff advocated for what they saw to be right. It is my understanding that Tim's termination was not advocating for fairness and justice, and not based on what is right for the New Roots community. I do not believe that the current administrative team is putting students' needs before their own. Students tonight, and during the events in the past 2 weeks, are advocating for fairness and justice. It hurts me to know that some of the things that have been happening are happening. I am really disappointed and sad to know that we have been lied to, as Tina has admitted herself, and the staff that we love is being treated poorly. I've loved New Roots from its first ice cream socials back in 2009. I've been defending it to the community outside of New Roots for years. Now, I am standing up for myself and the staff. New Roots is my 13th school so far, and it is the only one that I have loved waking up for and attending. It is also the only school that has enraged me so much. I am here to question Tina's judgment and decision of firing Tim. I am here to push you, the board, to question her decision as well, and investigate fully on what has happened these past 2 weeks. Finally, I am here to make sure that this, and other ways of poor staff treatment, does not continue to take place.
Indigo.
I'm not prepared a writing piece for this at all, but I'm speaking from my heart and the true honesty of this situation. Representing various students in this school, I am sure that they agree with me how we are appalled with this action that has been taken upon a very valued member of this school. I only came here in 10th grade, but I saw this school grow, and I had very positive outlooks on it. And when I found out that Tim had been fired after being variously lied to, actually, by Tina and other members, I feel like we have been, disgraced as a community. And it's embarrassing to me because if this came out to the public, which I don't know if it has, this would ruin our school, and people would go back to looking poorly upon it. I remember that there were 2 women who were against our school heavily, and when I found out, I was disgusted. But I want to fight for the school, and it's horrible that we have to go within it, like seeing a problem this heavy, that we have to deal with it, and it's not coming from the outside. So that's my personal opinion.
Sorry, I skipped over Ruth Lewis.
I don't have anything written or anything. My daughter did talk though. I agree with everything everybody's saying. The thing that really concerns me is that, high school goes by really quickly, and these students are, their concerns are so valid, and it's wonderful how they're speaking out for what they believe, and they're so concerned about Tim and Meryl, and that there their years in high school are being so wrapped up in something like this, and they're missing such a valuable time in their life, and it's going to be gone before they know it. And to think that this is what they're doing with their high school years is, to me, very sad, because it can't be replaced. And it just seems like, it's very sad. It seems like the administration should really be handling this in a different manner so that these kids can be enjoying high school in a different manner. So.
Tim Turecek.
I'd like to introduce you to my friend Rob. Rob and I, we made pizzas together 30 years ago. He dressed differently in those days. But he's here to help me through this, and without him, I probably would not have been allowed to be here tonight. I used to talk about starting a school the way people say, I should write a book. I didn't mean it. I didn't have the courage. Then 5 years ago at an Earth Day celebration, I met a woman who did. I knew from the first time I met Tina that I would do anything I could to help support her effort. And that turns out there were things I could do. As a board member, I took on the hard work of writing policies, of consulting on personnel processes and decisions, of conducting superintendent's hearings. I knew I was putting myself at personal and professional risk through my involvement with this school. But I did it anyway, because it was the right thing to do. Because our school was, and is, a necessary antidote to the destructive direction imposed on our public schools by the state and federal governments. And because I knew we were all in this together. It was, and it is, a fight worth fighting. As Dean of Students, I continued to serve this school in every way I could. I never shrunk from the hard knocks. I used my unique skills and experiences to make this school, its staff and students, stronger. I sought to build a wall of protection around and within this school. I know I failed at times. I know I made mistakes, but like all of us, I did my best. And through our mutual efforts, we made progress forward. I've always emphasized in my work with staff and students the need to articulate and emphasize and draw upon our strengths. I realize now that it's just as important for us to articulate and address our weaknesses as well. Each of us brings unique abilities to make this community stronger. But none of us can do it alone. We must understand our own limits and the limits of others. And together, we must use our complementary strengths to address those limits. A failure to work with our limits as well as our strengths causes us to run the risk of failure, and we can't let that happen. This school, our work, it's too necessary and too important to risk. Whatever happens here tonight and in the days to come, no one can take away the work we've done together. Even if we don't get to see each other every day, we continue to learn from one another's example. The memories of the work we have done together so far continues to inform our future experience and will make us stronger and more successful in the future. I'm a different man because of my work with all of you. I've learned a lot about what's necessary to change the world and what that world should look like. Sustainability, for me means a community based on love and reason, based on the mutual and complementary efforts of many people. I've learned that conflict is a necessary and healthy part of that work, and that what is most important is love and forgiveness and a determination to never, ever stop figuring out what the right thing is, and to never, ever stop fighting for what we know is right.
Regina Randall.
Follow that. I'm gonna try my best. Hi, community. So I'm a parent of Taylor Randall. I'd like to say that my daughter and I came to this school from Houston, Texas. I first talked with Sarah, we've been seeing on the phone from Houston, and that is why we moved here. We came here for the values of this school. My daughter got on a plane, and I drove a U-Haul with my 2 dogs to get here. It took me 3 days with all of our belongings so she could be at the school. So what's happening here today, tonight, the last couple of weeks is really unacceptable to me. I'd like to read something to you quickly. Dear friends, I had a private meeting with Tina prior to the roundtable discussion last night. I know that at one point listening to her, I felt like I should trust what she had to say and that her intentions were in the right place. Then quickly, with the discussion, I did remember how the situation impacted my daughter and her peers. For extremely intelligent people, you, this couldn't have been handled any worse than it did. I have spoken to several faculty that, on all separate personal conversations, speaking to them, excuse me, that they are all being treated differently than what I had expected New Roots to treat them. I can guarantee you that without profound changes, reassurance, and sustainability, these amazing teachers will not be returning next year. I am certain that they are looking at other options as we speak. I'm an advocate first for my child and second for them. I'm not afraid of the criticism that will follow this meeting, and I'm unwilling to settle for unjustifiable excuses for the behavior that has been bestowed upon our children. Because lying is not okay. One more second. The meeting last night was a terrific opportunity to calm and gain allies for the meeting that is before us today. I have chosen to remain in a category of we will not stand for this, parents, and fight to withhold the values of this school. I hope that you all are combined with this, all of you. And I can tell you this, I will pull my daughter out of this school if this isn't rectified. And I'm certain that many parents will, because this is unjust. And I didn't move here from Houston, Texas for hypocrisy. We talked to my child.
Yes.
Yvonne?
I've been here from the beginning, when my children came to me and said, we want to go to New Roots, it's a brand new school. I came here and I saw a lot of chaos, a lot of laissez-faire type of let the kids do whatever they want to do. And then it was brought back into a structure, and a working structure. And the structure improved as years went on. Then New Roots grew. And I think it even doubled, didn't it, in terms of size? And all of a sudden, people disappear. The rug is pulled out of the kids, or from under the kids. And I'm very concerned because New Roots has finally established itself. And now it's almost like a borderline manner, is that we are pulling everything from under to make it destabilize, to cause it to fail. And I think that's a danger, not only for the kids that have put in so much time, also for the teachers that I've seen come and go, unfortunately. And some of them had been able to stay, and some of them that came, or as Tim, or anyone else. I found value in some of the people that are, on one particular person, Meryl, who has been so instrumental in keeping these kids together that come from various backgrounds, to keep them emotionally together, to keep them moving on. There were reasons kids came to New Roots. There were distinctive reasons why they came. We have to provide stability. We can't think about it's not about differences. It's about, are we making the right choice in taking Tim or Meryl or anyone else? Are we making the right choice because we have a special group of kids here? We can't just pull them out. This is not a bunch of calves as they are in a public school, in another public school. I call it a cattle farm, because then this is how they were geared out from room to room. It was like cattle drives. So it's no longer that. My concern is that it's falling apart. It's all falling apart. And for somebody who's putting so much effort, Tina, as you have, I'm worried. I am worried that what you've created is falling.
I'm Gabby, as you just heard. I feel as if when I came to the school, I was on the borderline of dropping out and never coming back. And I had a home here when I came here. Meryl and Tim were the thing that made us a home. It made us all love each other and no bullying. And after they've been gone, we don't get along. Nobody gets along really anymore that we used to. We're all falling apart. At my home, I'm so stressed out, I get in fights with my parents now. And I've talked to Tim, I've talked to Meryl, they both want to come back. They love us enough that they're willing to see what your mistake was, Tina, and come back. It hurts us to know that you lied to us, but we're willing to forgive you only if Meryl and Tim come back. I dropped out again, and Tim brought me back. He made me sit down and talk with Angelina and him, and that's the reason I came back. And without them, I don't know if I want to be here anymore. It's not a home anymore, and that's all I really have to say.
Shawnee Clark.
Hello, I'm Shanta Carter's mom, and I say two things off the top before I do my little speech. One, I work for the Department of Labor. I know all about wrongful termination, okay? If Tim had molested a kid, if he had stolen money, if he had done something so egregious, I and all of you would not be standing here to defend him, okay? That is not the case. So, I also know my daughter came here because where she lived, they all called her nigger. And we know Ithaca deals with this problem too. So don't even try to pretend that doesn't happen here, because it happens all the time. But not at New Roots. It doesn't happen at New Roots. My daughter is comfortable. This is her home. We're adopted. We have white family. We have Hispanic. We love the diversity here. Not only of lifestyle, of culture, and identity. So we really don't want any of that to be encapsulated and bumped just because of an administrative process. So we know that a cornerstone of an alternative school is the counseling and the disciplinary structure that it brings. When Tim came, Shanta was not pleased, because as some other kids, they didn't like the idea that they were instituting some structure and discipline. But my daughter, as well as other kids, had to adhere to that. Now, she's come a long ways, because she, as well as many other kids, maybe felt the same way. Everybody's here to defend Tim. Okay? So we know that the cornerstone of an alternative school is support, it's the counseling, it's the positive discipline. And after a whole year of actually experiencing that and really embracing that, that's why in the spring, we went, all of us, many of us, to the Ithaca High School to defend Tina and the New Root School. We did that because we believe in it and we saw the turnaround that was happening. A lot of it, the catalyst for change, Meryl and Tim. I care about math, I care about English, I care about social studies, I care about gym, but I care a lot more about this, okay? So the solace and the harmony that this school can bring, has brought, has been completely disrupted. And again, I'm very familiar with wrongful termination. Egregious acts is not acceptable. I don't believe that's the case. Thank you.
Let it be noted that I'm speaking as a member of the public. However, if people don't want to take my comments that way, feel free to. I'm speaking as a student of the New Root School, not as a student representing the Board of Trustees. However, as a student representative, I feel compelled to speak because of all of you right here. I don't want to see this community fall apart. Amen. I have been here since April 2009, before the charter was even given, and I don't want to see this community fall apart. And I feel that this community will fall apart if the teachers, if the students have to live in a constant environment of fear. Fear that someone that they love, someone they respect, is going to be wrongfully terminated at any moment. Fear that someone is going to have to leave the school because of maybe that potential wrongful termination. I don't want people to live in fear that they might lose their jobs the other day. That is not the kind of environment I want. If this is a school based on sustainability, based on justice, then you have to get rid of that environment of fear, because that environment of fear is what many horrible regimes throughout history have used to keep people under control. That environment of fear. That environment of fear. Don't step out of line, because you might be the next one to go. So all I'm saying is don't create that environment of fear. Let people live. That's not what I wanted. Do not create this environment of fear. That is not what is good for this school. This school, what we need is we need an environment of shared love and compassion. We need to know that when we come in the next day, someone that we know and care about isn't going to be gone and given no explanation, and even worse, lied to outright why they are gone. All I'm asking is that this environment of fear will go away. That's all I want. And I think that's all most people want. That's all the staff seem to want. That's all the students seem to want. They just don't want this environment of fear, and we want to grow further, but we cannot grow further until fear is vanquished. Thank you.
Okay, so parent asked me to speak, so I'm taking from my spot.
Oh, Christy! My name is Christy French. I originally was going to speak tonight on behalf of many New Roots parents that are very angry. I decided that might be a rash decision because I did not know the circumstances surrounding the termination of Tim well enough, and I feel that there are things that a lot of us don't know that have happened. So instead, this is what I'm going to say. New Roots has changed every child's life that's here, every single one. My kids took a complete, I have to keep my kids at home when they're sick because they want to go to school, okay? This school cannot be jeopardized in any way. Number one, we are indebted to Tina for starting the school and keeping it going for so many years. I have heard some quotes from teachers, however. The recent one was, in the last 2 weeks, this is the first time I haven't wanted to quit this meeting right here because this person felt that there was the ability to change. that the board will listen, that Tina will listen. I feel that Tina will listen. I feel that Tina will take into consideration the things that everybody thinks. I feel that her heart and soul is in this school. But we do need to let the board know, and Tina know, how we feel, how everyone feels. So, I think that number one, this is too much of a responsibility for one person, and it's not a responsibility that Tina said, hey, I want all this responsibility. I want to be every single thing here. It was kind of thrust on her. This is what she has to do. So, in order to make it better, that would make anyone crack. That would make anyone crack. So, dissemination of responsibilities, number one, has to occur. That has to happen. Dissemination of responsibilities, which she has already started to do, and which needs to continue to happen. There is no doubt in that. I'm sorry, I didn't have anything prepared. The atmosphere of New Roots, for freshman parents and for freshmen, I want you to know the atmosphere of New Roots, this is not the atmosphere, okay? Don't give up on New Roots. Don't take your kids out. Give it a chance. We've had many trials and tribulations, and it succeeded so far, and it is the best school I've ever seen. Don't give up. We need to come together with an air of forgiveness for everyone. Everyone. Anyone who's angry at Tina needs to forgive Tina. Anyone who's angry at Meryl needs to forgive Meryl. And I'm going to say, for me, specifically, I won't stop with petitions, protests, speeches, whatever, until Meryl is back. And I know that Tina is already making efforts for that. I'll be done in just a second, please. I don't know enough about Tim's firing to say the same thing, and I'm sorry for that, Tim, because Tim is an indispensable resource for this school. Indispensable resource for the school. Lastly, I want the public to know that every family has disagreements. Every family has infighting, and every family has problems. New Roots is a family. Regardless of the problems, we will overcome this, and I don't want anyone in the public to badmouth this community because we're having some problems right now. That would be low. New Roots is a community. It will remain a community, and we simply need to come together and everyone work on a solution. And I believe that we will, and I believe that we can.
Thank you, everybody, for speaking. It's great to see people coming to the board meetings. Usually we're sitting here speaking to ourselves. So I hope that once this particular issue is past us, that you continue to come to the board meetings and continue to tell us what you're thinking. Not just when you're upset, but also when you're happy, and maybe sometimes when you're neither one, but you just want to participate in the decisions of this school. I move that we go into executive session for the purpose of discussing employment and employment history of a particular current employee, administrator of New Roots Charter School. All those in favor? In this particular executive session, only voting board members, fully voting board members will go into this session.